Now that we understand how firms behave in competitive markets, we're going to turn our attention to firms with market power. We'll start here by talking about monopoly, and we'll move on later to talk about oligopoly markets. But first, we need to talk a little bit about what it means to have market power and where market power comes from. So market power is the firm's ability to raise prices in order to earn profit in the long run. You'll recall that in competition, firms have no control over their price. They're price takers. They simply have no choice but to charge the market price. Market power means that firms have the ability to raise their prices without demand going to zero. What allows firms to earn positive profits in the long run and to increase their price without losing all their customers is some type of barrier to entry in the market. These barriers to entry can take several different forms. Structural barriers to entry refer to some characteristic of the market that gives existing firms a cost advantage. And that could be due to ownership of resources. So for example, diamonds or oil. If a few firms own the existing natural resources, then it's pretty difficult for a new firm to just enter the market. It could also be due to the type of production. So for example, Facebook in social media in general have network externalities, meaning that it would be difficult to open up a competitor in that market because all of the customers are kind of already on the existing platform. Another example would be firm where you just have a very dominant firm in the market and there are economies of scale. So perhaps Walmart, right, has more power to offer goods at lower prices because they have a lot of market power in the purchase of goods from distributors that can get them lower prices than a small new entrant to the market could. There are also strategic barriers to entry. So existing firms might behave in a way that reduces profit for new entrants. So for example, this is illegal, but predatory pricing is where existing firms lower their prices below the point of profitability in order to drive competition out of the market. And this happens particularly where there's one large dominant firm that has, say, many locations like McDonald's or Walmart, right? They can stand to take losses in a single location for an extended period of time because they're earning profits elsewhere, drive their competition out of business, and then use that market power to increase prices. Now that is illegal, but it is perhaps a strategy that dominant firms might use. The last one here is legal barriers to entry. So sometimes the government actually restricts the ability of new firms to enter the market for a couple different reasons. You might be concerned about quality and safety measures. And so you want to make sure that everybody who is practicing medicine, for example, is licensed to practice medicine. You also have cases here where the government wants to limit entry into the market because of the cost structure of provision of the good. In other words, maybe we have a natural monopoly market where we couldn't have the market exist in a competitive structure. So the government might limit entry in order to make sure that these goods are provided. And we'll talk a little bit more about natural monopoly markets as we go here. Okay, so the main takeaway is that in order to have market power, there has to be some barrier to entry into the market. Market power allows the firms to increase their prices, earning positive profit in the long run.